In this video segment, we're going to do a tab tour, but first we're going to get that athletic waiver signed and set up some special programs. Start out with our web browser, go to the California site, click on Online Start Box, and we're going to log in. And my password was saved by my browser. The browser knows that I'm on this site, and this is the username password that I've used on this site, so I can click Login. And notice that it immediately takes us to the waiver tab. That's because you haven't signed your waiver. It's kind of a feature. It's a good time maybe to point out that to get back to that status page, you click on this little arrow up here. So we got all these tabs across the top. Click on the arrow, and now we're at the status page. And again, we see the athletic waiver is not signed. So how do we get to the athletic waiver? Well, it's an account feature, something that's associated with your account. You only have to do it once. So I click on that, and again, I'm now back on the waiver tab. And this is the standard athletic waiver that we've all signed when we've done bulk sport events, when we've signed the log or the start cards. And the idea is you just click here to say accept, and then click the save button. It has a feature called add minors that we'll discuss later. So right now we're just going to click save and take us back to the top of the waiver page, and then we click on the arrow again, and now we'll be able to go back and see our athletic waiver is in force. All users need to sign their athletic waiver. If you haven't signed your athletic waiver, you will not be allowed to register for an event on the online start box. So the other thing is we want to do here is before we click around a bit more is to set up some special programs. So we click on my account, and actually it takes us to the next logical thing, which is my books. So it's on the same set of tabs that have my waiver, is my books, my connections, my address, my login. We're going to work on my books. So this is where you tell the system which books you're stamping, and almost certainly people walking for credit have a distance and event book. You want to leave those checked if you're doing that, but if you're not, if you're just making a donation, this is where you could actually click here and here, and now any fees collected would be strictly a donation to the club and be counted as walker, but you won't be stamping. It's actually it will appear as a paid walker, and you'll be looking at like you're having IV credit, but you won't be using the books. But the other thing you can do, you want to leave these checked typically, so don't leave those checked off. And if you see here, there are two more places that we can look at down here. We've got the buttons, and here's where you tell it, the system, that these are the special programs that I'm working on. So for example, I'm doing a Centurion challenge, and we're doing border crossings, maybe the Underground Railroad, and I think maybe the most popular one is the ice cream parlors. Got to do that one, right? So we click all those off, go back up here to the top, and update my list. And now you see a list of special programs that, in addition to your event and distant book, that will become available for insert cards later when you go through the completion process for an event. But there's another way to add other programs that are not necessarily AVA sanctioned, but maybe state sanctioned, club sanctioned, books, cards, and the maybe you're doing the Appalachian Trail through Pennsylvania. Notice there are a number there's a Pennsylvania State Parks, and if it's not even in the list, there's a way for you to add your own in here and save it. But we're not going to do that right now, and I'm going to have to come back because I canceled that. So I'm going to have to go in and add from another list. And Appalachian Trail, Pennsylvania Parks, update my list, and you can see now those are here. So this provides a subset of the special programs that you're working on, and that when you go to check at the end of a walk, you're going to be asked to select the applicable special programs. The system does not attempt to match the special programs supported by event against your list in any way, you have to check them off. And that's because special programs are sometimes a bit complicated by the fact that the 5-kilometer walk includes the program but the 10-kilometer doesn't, or vice versa. And so there's no attempt to try to match what programs you're working on with those that's actually for the event that you just completed. You have to check those off manually, and you'll see that later. So now we've done all the things that we need to do. Now we're going to go through a little bit of a tab tour, and I'm going to go back to that base. This is what I call home base, my status. Notice across the top we have my status, my start box, my compass, my money, my account. So I'm going to click on the My Compass tab. It's the tab that you most likely will not be visiting unless you're a California walker, because it's a way to set up a subscription to the Compass newsletter for California website. Typically, there's no necessarily any information about the online start box in this publication. So typically, if you're not a California walker, you're not interested in this, but it's there if you are interested. The next one that I want to show you is the My Money. This is one that we'll be covering in the next video segment, but I just want to click on it to show you that this is where you'll enter some funds to be transferred from a PayPal account into what is referred to as the event bank. And these funds are then used to pay event fees and also pay for directions, as it turns out. And you'll want to fund this before you try to register for an event, so you'll have the money there ready to go. Next is the My Account tab, and we've seen that My Books. It's where we go to. We've seen My Waiver, and now I'm going to take a look at the bottom of the My Waiver. See that we have already saved the accept, but there's an Add Minors button. We're going to click on that just to take a quick look. This is where you would enter the names of minors, the date of birth, and the idea is that anybody under the 18 years old really cannot sign the waiver. The adult is effectively signing the waiver, and this actually creates a separate account for the minor, and there's a feature that allows you to manage their account such that they have you can manage their event books, the special programs they're participating in. I won't do that right now. Okay, so the other feature in here is the ability to, let's go to My Connections. My Connections, have you seen some of these access codes come into play? Here's something called the Personal Connection Code, and I'll show you later how to use this. This is a way to give another person the right to manage your account for you, or help another person. All you have to do is give that code to that other person who has an online Startbox account, and then they can use that code to set up a permanent connection between the two accounts and access your account. Also in here is a way to become a club manager, and so you got to pick out which club you want to be manager of. In this case, I'm going to choose my home club, Liberty Bell Wanderers. So I click on here, and I'm not going to go much further on this, but I'm going to go to the top. Notice I'm having to play with both the scroll bars because my window is artificially small. But I could click here on Send Mail, and what that will do is send out an email to the point of contact for Liberty Bell Wanderers, and he will get another one of these access codes, and I can use that access code to set up myself as manager of, in this case, the Liberty Bell Wanderers. So click back here on My Connections, and let's see. The other button on here is the ability to delete connections, and I will show you this again. But in principle, we'll be able to delete connections between you or delete the fact that you are a club manager. Anything that can be done on this particular web page. So that pretty much covers the My Connections. We'll see this come into play in the next time. So this is just really more of a tour of the tabs. I hope you noticed that I'm clicking on all these tabs pretty simply, and there's no harm caused, no significant changes being made to any account. And I recommend that you do this also to get yourself familiar with all the features of the website. And you should feel comfortable clicking on any tab and not worrying about getting back to where you were or screwing anything up, so to speak. So the idea here is you can put in your street address if you wish. It's important maybe if you're going to subscribe to Compass. And your home phone number, not necessary, but can be put in here also. Next is My Login tab. This is where you can change everything about your account. And one thing you can do, in fact, is give your, instead of using the email address as your username, you could put in a actual name. And oh, it says Ava has been taken, so I gotta do something different there. So I will use IVV, and it tells me it's available. Now I could actually enter a password and hit submit, and it would take that as my new username, but I'm not going to do that right now. So we've covered everything in here. Or there's a place to up here. Yeah, one more thing. You can upload your picture. You could put a picture here if you want. So we've done my login, address, everything. So now we're ready to go back to status. I didn't cover, I left this one for the last, since this one takes us into the Startbox arena, which is and it's telling us about if you want to use a connection code. And it takes us to, if we've generated any insert cards, this is where they would be created. Typically that's not there. We can see if we wish to select an event, and notice now instead of, because we're logged in, we get the ability actually to register. So not only this little register button, and I'll select one. Let's select Whitewater, and notice that I get a chance here to set up and register for this event, but I also get the chance to possibly put people in to pay for. Notice there are no people in this group yet, but let's say I wanted to pay for somebody. So I can look in the big list, and I know of a particular user that he likes to be paid for, and that's Daffy Duck. And I can hit done, and now you can see that Daffy's been added to my list of people, and I can click off that I'm going to pay for Daffy's account. Also notice that I can click off here at being a free walker, but this is not encouraged, obviously. We want everybody to walk for credit. And we can choose to register for an event, and I will do that because it's, even at this stage, this is not totally irreversible. So I'm going to click on that, and it shows me that I have I'm going to have to pay $6 of event credit fee, but I'm going to need $2 if I want to download the directions. Now that's going to be, since I don't have any money in my event bank, I'm not going to be able to go much further. But it also shows me that I'm paying for two walkers, myself and Ava Walker and Daffy Duck. And again, I can't go to finish because I haven't. It'll basically complain about not having any funds. That's when the money gets collected, if you wish, for the walking fee. So I'm going to cancel this registration, and it gives me a verification. And now I see that I haven't registered for any event. That's okay. So I think we've looked at everything here. Again, I have no insert cards at this moment that I have been able to. So they've been moved, it says, but that's okay. Click on it again. There it is. Okay. And there's a status here that shows you that we tried to set up it keeps a little log of what we attempted to do as far as logging in, or as far as registering an event. It says, well, you registered, but then you canceled on the same day for this event. And this will have more data displayed in the future. This is still a section that's a bit under development. So that concludes this video segment.